The James Webb Telescope, also known as the Webb or the JWST, is predicted to launch in 2021 from French Guiana. This telescope will be Hubble's successor and is going to become the most powerful space telescope ever made. The JWST will be bigger than the Hubble, being the size of a tennis court, but will also have half the mass of the Hubble, being only 6,500 kilograms. The ideas and early work of the next telescope began even before Hubble's launch in 1990.
If we want to see first galaxies, we need to do something else. You would imagine that we realize we need to do something to be able to see beyond what Hubble could do. And we probably would have started that 10, 15 years ago as we saw how powerful Hubble was. Well, in fact, that activity started in the late 1980s. Even before Hubble was launched, the director of the Space Telescope Science Institute, Riccardo Giacconi, who became a Nobel Prize winner later on for his work on X-rays, said to me and a small group of us, "You guys have got to go out and start designing the next telescope." And we said, "Hubble isn't even launched yet." He said, "Trust me, it takes a long time." So we set up the first science meeting on the left and then did some technical studies, concept studies on the right. Within 10 years, NASA had decided that this was a project they wanted to move forward on.
The telescope does not have a main designer. It was rather a mix and addition of ideas of multiple scientists and other workers over time. Although the project manager is Bill Oakes and the senior project scientist is John Mather. Not only that, but the JWST is a collaboration between NASA and the Canadian and European space agencies, CSA and ESA. The telescope is being built all over the country and moved around from places like NASA and Northrop Grumman. The telescope was originally named the Next Generation Telescope, NGST, but was then renamed in 2002 after the NASA administrator James Webb, who ran the fledgling space agency for about 7 years. According to NASA, Webb did more for science than perhaps any other government official, and that it's only fitting that the Next Generation Space Telescope would be named after him. The first predicted launch date for the Webb was in 2007, and the cost then for the telescope was $500 million. Since then, the launch dates and budget plans for the telescope has changed about a dozen times. Today, the launch date is set at March 30th of 2021, with a big price tag of $10 billion. When it does launch, the telescope will be set to orbit the Sun 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth. The telescope would be folded up because of its size and will be attached to the Ariane 5 rocket. After it's set into orbit, it will then slowly unfold each part, including the mirrors plated with an extremely thin layer of gold and a 5-layer sun shield, which would be the equivalent of a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, SPF, of 1,000,000, to protect the telescope from all sunlight. Afterwards, the JWST will view space in infrared. This will allow the telescope to view more distant objects that are redshifted and have a lot wider range than Hubble. Viewing the universe at infrared wavelengths allow us to see things we've never seen before. At this wavelength, we can see the first stars and galaxies that have formed after the Big Bang, like traveling back in time 13 billion years ago. The Webb will improve our knowledge of planet, star, and galaxy formation.